Right, let's get down to the nitty gritty of putting this baby together. So it's about time, isn't it? Right, okay. So we've got our pages, we've got our back cover. I've got this for the front cover, I'll come to that in a bit. I've got this to put some glue on, and I've got this bit of fabric. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to put a thin layer of glue on the top here. Now, normally when you do this in bookbinding, you put plenty of glue on because you want it to seep down into the pages a little. We don't want that to happen because we don't want our pages to stick as we're opening them. So I just want a thin layer on the top so that I can attach this piece of fabric, and it will just help to give that spine a little bit more strength. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my PVA glue. So let me just undo this bottle, and we'll put a dollop on there. And I'm going to use my fingers, so it's going to get downright dirty and mucky. Okay. As I say, I don't want too much on, and you don't have to do this. This is just purely something that I want to do because I just think that adding the fabric will just start to bring it all together, and it will help to give that little bit of extra support. So I think that that's enough just to hold that in place. And I see anywhere else, I think. And this is another area where it's like, if you haven't got it even and you've got loads sticking out, it might not work. Okay, let's give this a go. So I'm going to sit that on there. Might not work yet. I'm going to stick that on there. I'm going to strain it all up. And hopefully that will be enough. Okay, let's trim off that excess. Put that to one side because I don't want to get glue anywhere. And then I can use my fabric tack. So we'll just put that on there. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna be a devil. I'm gonna put some fabric tack on top. And then I'll run my finger over to run it through. Because with it being cotton fabric, it should seep through quite easily. Ooh, cross-fingered, this works. Normally when you're doing what you would class as proper bookbinding, you would put a gauze on it. There's a special gauze that you can buy. It's expensive though. So we did our back cover in that we put this piece of card in, and we didn't stick it to the front because we couldn't, because we didn't know how deep our spine was going to be. I've cut another piece of craft card, and this time, whereas this piece I cut fractionally shorter, this time I've gone right to the very edge. And I've also punched out a border and inked up the edges so that this piece is going to go on the outside. I haven't punched this side yet because I want to check the size that it's going to be. Now, if we go back to our pages, I'm going to put some Tombow glue on that flap that's at the back. And that then can, if the glue will come on. And then that then will stick to this back cover. And I want to put the pages as close to this top edge as I can. So sit that on there. Make sure that it's all central. Apply a little bit of pressure. I have to be careful about lifting it up because that fabric hasn't quite set off yet. And then where if we have a look, if I can do it carefully, where the paper attaches here to this background paper, I could put another strip of either the same paper on top or put one of the tape measures on top, and that will just act as extra security to hold this paper in place. Yeah. Right, I'm going to have to wait for that glue to set off, so I'll come back in a little while and show you the next step. Okay, so that didn't work. That was a big thumbs down. So I ripped it off. I'm going to start again. So I got another piece of fabric. And this is my last piece. And I'm going to cover this with my Fabri-Tac glue. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Right, let's give this a go now. I'm going to stick that at the back. Sorry, I'm having to do it close to me so I hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and that will sit on there. Come on you go. Pull that right to the front. It's not the neatest job I've ever done. I'll cover that over with a little strip or something. Okay, that's better than it turned out previously whilst I was waiting for it to dry. All the glue went gloopy on me and funny, so I ended up having to peel it off. That will do for now. It achieves what I want it to achieve for now, so that's fine. Okay, so next thing, front cover. So I want my Collel glue and my Tombow. Now the next thing we need to do is to work out, I'll just turn it all on its side for you to see, is to work out where this piece is going to go, how long we want it to actually be. So bearing in mind that this is going on the inside, now you have a couple of choices. You can do a curly version so that it bends round, it just curves around, or you can actually fold it and crease it so that it's more rigid. I think, do I want to go with the rounded version? Let's have a look. Yeah, I quite like the rounded version. And in fact, if I do it that little bit longer, there should be enough space to maybe get a pen in there. So if I do it like that. Okay, let me just pull that out. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that spacing. Okay. Now, I'm going to put some Tombow glue on there. Because I only need this to hold in place And then I can sit that on top with tapping it on the bottom. I know that the two edges there are lined up. And then I should be able to open this out. And then I'm going to put my micro pour to soften this edge here. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of messing about with that fabric bit. Joys of doing it on camera. And now I can stick this piece on top. Put plenty of glue on. And remember, this one's got to go on upside down. So I'm going to line it up at this edge up here. Okay, so at the moment the cover's a little bit sort of loose and flappy. That's fine, it's going to become more sturdy in a little minute. Alright, so we're now going to repeat the same thing with this spine bit, but with this piece here. So I'm going to stick this bit on the front, and then I can work out how much I would then need to chop off. Now you may need to work this out first and then chop it off on your paper trimmer. I'm just going to do it by eye. So I want Tombow. Then I want that going down, covering over this cover bit about 1/2 inch, because I don't want to encroach all of this space here, because I want to decorate it up. Of course, you don't have to do a punched border edge. You could just leave it plain and then add some lace on. I mean, really, the options are entirely up to you. Sorry about that. Battery run out on my phone, but fortunately I caught it just in time. So we've stuck this front piece onto the front cover, and I'm now going to wrap it around so that I can work out how much I want to trim off. So I reckon let's take that much off, because on the back I'm going to put some lace on. I'm not going to punch it. So that will sit on there, and then I'll put some lace on this end. Now what I need to do is I need to join this to that piece on the inside. So I'm going to put some Tombow glue all over that piece on the back. And I'm going to put plenty on because I want to make sure that it's stuck down well. So just applying some pressure and applying pressure on both sides. Now where the card comes into contact with the actual hardcover, it might not stick down because of the depth of the card, but it will help to give it enough stability. Okay, and then turn it back over, and then I can put glue on this piece. Excuse me. Yeah, happy with that. So the only bit I'm not entirely happy with is that piece of fabric on the inside, but I can mess about with that little bit at my own leisure and pleasure. All right, let's have a look what it looks like now. So that opens up like so, and then of course I've got all my pages, got my flip outs, got my flip ups. I've got this page here that I'm going to attach, but this one's going to flip that way. That one flips out that way. This one flips out that way. That one flips up. That flips up. That flips up. That one flips out, as does that one. Yeah, happy with that. I think that by the time I add a strip on the back there to give that some extra support and strength, it will be a lot better. Okay, so the next step then is to start to utilise all the extra little bits and pieces that there are. Just grabbing a few more. So once you go through the kit, I mean, there's loads and loads and loads of things to utilise. I'll show you basically the layout that I'm going to do on my front cover. So I fussy cut this lady out, this mannequin. So I'm going to sit her there. I'm going to put a piece of crochet doily there. I'm going to put this there. I'm going to put that one on there. And I'm going to add some buttons, and I'm going to do a button card because I couldn't get the full stand in here. I thought if I add a button card with some buttons on, I don't want it overly bulky, but that kind of gives you an idea of the finished look that I'm going for. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to decorate my front cover, and I'm going to add some of the other extra bits and pieces to decorate my journal, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. If there's a couple of bits and pieces that I think you might be interested in, I'll try and record them and show them in a separate video. But that's the basis of putting this journal together. And I know that some of you found video number 2 maybe a little bit difficult to follow, but I wanted to show you the the thought process that you sometimes need to put into making a journal. It's not just a case of always grabbing a load of papers and just plonking them in a cover. Sometimes you do need to sit and just think it through a little bit, and that's not something that you can really teach. But I thought if you saw me going through the process, it might just help, and it might just trigger a little thought process for you. So I know that it might not have been the easiest of videos to watch, number 2, but I hope that by the time you got to number 3, it kind of made sense, and you could understand then the thought process that I was going through. So enough of all of that. I'm going to go off and go and decorate my journal, and I'll come back in another video and show you what it looks like, all done, dusted and decorated, and I'll point out any extra little bits for you that I think you may be interested in. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.